This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 818 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Hillary Hebert, senior editor of Dressage Today, joins Dressage radio show co-hosts Reese Kofler-Stanfield and Philip Parks with a very short tip on the degrees of bend. It sounds simple on the surface, but do not be fooled. And we'll get right to our tip after this message from Kentucky Performance Products. How is Summer Games different from other electrolyte products? Summer Games Plus contains the same electrolyte formulation as Summer Games Electrolyte, which was originally formulated for the horses competing at the 1996 Olympics. The formulation was based on the results of research conducted in anticipation of the Games, which were held in Atlanta, Georgia, known for its hot, humid summers. Summer Games mimics the composition of equine sweat, supplying the horse with the exact amounts and ratios of electrolytes relinquished in sweat. Summer Games Plus contains no sugar like many popular commercial electrolyte supplements. Summer Games Plus also contains a buffering agent that helps create a soothing gastric environment. This is especially important for horses subjected to the stresses often related to top performance, such as exertion, transportation, and unfamiliar stabling atmospheres. Ask for Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes at your local tack and feed supplier or visit kppusa.com. Now, on with today's tip.
This is a fantastic tip. It's from one of our best U.S. judges, Janet Foy. She has a monthly column called Tests and Techniques, where she talks about, from a rider and judging perspective, how to do separate movements in the test. And this is near and dear to my heart. She talked about in the Pre-St. George, you go down the long side, you ride shoulder in, then you do a volte immediately into a half pass to center line. And I appreciated this for myself because I have been doing the Pre-St. George this year, and this tip has made it so that I have gotten no less than a 7 in any of my trot tour this season. So this is what her secret is the volte is the least amount of bend of those three pieces. The shoulder in is the second most, and the half pass has the most bend. And this seems really simple, but when you get focused on riding each piece of the movements, you're worried about, where your shoulder in is. Are you on 3 tracks? The volte, are you getting the geometry correct? The half pass, maintaining consistency. And it's really easy to forget that you have to transition the bend between them. So I always think in my head as I'm going through it that it's in this order for bend: some, least, and then most. And I think that this is something that is very worthwhile to think of in the Pre-St. George, but also in any moment, in any test where you have to change the amount of bend. I think you should pay attention to it regardless of the level that you're at.
I love this. And we talked and got the show notes a little early, and I'm doing my first Pre-St. George on Winnie this weekend. And I practiced this very, very clearly, just like you wrote in our notes. And it is a lot harder than you think it is. You think, oh, that's not so bad. But when I really started writing and thinking about it and how much bend and where should she be in each part, the first time I went through, it wasn't as successful. And then I had to stop and think about it. And then I did it again. It was so much better. And I had a clearer kind of way of going. So that was great.
And that's a wrap. Try this little exercise for yourself, regardless of your chosen discipline, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. If you enjoyed Reese and Philip chatting about all things dressage, you can tune in every week at dressageradio.com. You can also find lots more tips about topics ranging from barn care to websites for horse people at horsetipdaily.com. Just look for the topics drop-down menu on the left. And don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily because they make these podcasts possible. Today's podcast has been brought to you through the generous support of Kentucky Performance Products. You can find them online at kppusa.com. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.